Hey yo, y'all. I'm gonna be really regimented about trying to offer up a daily here. I'm trying to offer a solid daily with with a real effort here. So, I mean, just in general, the one thing that I've started to notice is that there are small discrepancies between the most popular trading platforms. I mean, like if you're comparing the real specific numbers between Coinbase, Binance, and the Kraken, which I thought was a cool name. Crack Kraken is Kraken is a cool thing. So it's a sea creature. The rum, the spiced rum, the Kraken, the spiced rum. It's good. So yeah, I mean in general, I just thought like um, today, what I'm kind of doing on the daily is I'll just check the numbers on each of the platforms. So like if I'm looking at the big movers, the big changers for the day, like Algorand, Compound, Ethereum Classic, and Bitcoin is up 16.68. And I did make a purchase of both Internet Computer and Filecoin. So ICP, my friend who is well qualified to make judgment calls like this, says he has good confidence in ICP, and there's been some other people speaking out in advocacy of it to be at the bottom of the entire Coinbase cryptocurrency market. I mean, like if you're looking at the daily changers, I think ICP is at the very bottom or very close to the bottom. So, or it was yesterday. So like ICP and Filecoin were both down really far yesterday. They bounced back up a little bit. But if we're looking at like the 24 hour, the 1 week, yeah. So in the 1 week ICP here, you can see on the 1 week level, it's down like 22%. On the month, it's down, or it's not down as much as some of these others. So I mean, in general, looking at the the bottom, the bottom of the list, like Litecoin down 52% on the month. So I think that would be a good purchase right now. Like Litecoin is currently at 202.17. I don't think Litecoin is going anywhere. I definitely see it as having a lot of potential. Um, but it's not down in comparison to its absolute peak of 540. It's not down as much as some of the others. So, I mean, like if we're looking at this overall chart, I'd say this overall chart in particular does not make Litecoin look as good as simply the intuition that I would have about its general position amongst other altcoins. So like if I were to make purchases right now just based upon general word of mouth of what's going around the campfire, I'd say like Chainlink. I did buy a little bit of Polygon, just like a little bit, and Ethereum seems pretty affordable actually at 31. I definitely think Ethereum's got what it takes to go to 50K or more. I think it's a pretty good deal at 3,000 at current juncture. Well, it could go below 25, but there was somebody on Bloomberg Technology earlier today saying that it was going to go down. If it goes down to 25, that's their buy. So, like comparing the hard numbers as well between the different platforms, like. So let's look at movers on the 24 hours. So it says Algorand's up 20.3%, and in Binance, uh, let's look into where's Algorand. Mm. Mm. Come on, where's Algorand here? What's the I've forgotten the name. ALGO. I mean, if you're moving huge volumes, so here you go. Here's the difference between the numbers. So we're looking at like the Binance 24-hour change, and it says it's up 6.52%. And here in Coinbase, it clearly does say on the 24-hour that it's up 20.3%. So that's like, 13.5, 14% difference in what these are listed as on both of these platforms. It's saying right now on Coinbase you can pick up Algorand for $1.28, and on Binance apparently you can pick it up for $1.01. And then let's see what Algo is over here. And then over here on Kraken, it's up 23.59%, trading at 87. So that's a little bit of difference. So what are we gonna do about that? We got Coinbase for $1.28. We got Binance for $1.01. Or wait, am I misreading this? I don't think so. And that's euros. There we go. Change to USD. $1.06. It's still different. My point stands. So yeah, I don't know. Just watching this Bloomberg quickie on the Winklevoss twins and their thoughts on the cryptocurrency market.
Cameron and Tyler, you guys were some of the earliest investors in Bitcoin. And I've publicly said it before, I think that you guys are going to end up being some of the best investors in the world. And the reason being that you had such deep conviction to go and put a sizable amount of money, right? Most people who found Bitcoin, they either didn't have a lot of capital or they didn't have the ability to go and buy millions of dollars of Bitcoin. Why have you guys held on this entire time? There's been volatility, all this stuff. Like what has kept you guys so convicted since the very early days until today?
So we still think it's really early. We think Bitcoin's gold 2.0.
I tend to agree with them. They seem like they seem like good guys. I don't know. I agree.
We think Bitcoin's gold 2.0. It will disrupt gold, so its market cap has to be 10 trillion or more because that's the market cap of gold. So Bitcoin's hovering around 1 trillion now. We still think it's at least conservatively a 10x from here. So even
personally, how I see things is that Bitcoin, I think, has what it takes to go past 100K, and Ethereum 50K. I don't think that's an over-exaggeration. I definitely think that's the direction in which things are headed.
The volatility, it's been going on for several weeks now, and it's not just apparently because of Elon Musk. Why is this still happening?
Bitcoin's always been extremely volatile. Since I've been doing this 2013, 2014, we've had plus 10, minus 10%, or even more daily swings for a long time. That's just kind of how Bitcoin is.
And plus 30, minus 30% swings on the daily. But thinking about Elon's contribution and Dogecoin. Dogecoin is now purchasable on here, so I bought a little bit of Doge just to get with the meme, you know what I mean? So, looking into some of these Dogecoin.
Federal Reserve is Dogecoining the US dollar, Representative Davidson. In brief, Representative Warren Davidson and Senator Cynthia Lummis took aim at the Fed's monetary policy at the Bitcoin 2021 conference in Miami. The Federal Reserve has printed trillions of dollars to avert a recession. The legislators worry this will weaken the US dollar. Many Bitcoin proponents have chided the US Federal Reserve for its policy during, and before, the coronavirus pandemic of printing money to stimulate sections of the economy. Cryptocurrency proponent Representative Warren Davidson, ROH, thinks the Fed's monetary policy bears some resemblance to the tokenomics of the world's sixth largest cryptocurrency. The Fed is basically Dogecoining the US dollar, said Davidson at the Bitcoin 2021 conference today.
Sixth largest by market cap. I'm not sure if it would be the cryptocurrency that people have the sixth amount of confidence in. I think people do take Dogecoin mostly as a meme, but that doesn't mean that it's not going to go up in value. It doesn't mean that it's not going to find its place in the market, especially with Shiba Inu and whatnot.
Today, referring to the production of 10,000 new Doge roughly every minute. By contrast, only 21 million Bitcoin will ever be minted. There's a benefit to scarcity that the Dogecoiners don't apparently get, added Representative Davidson. Nor does the Federation. His comments came in response to U.S. Senator Cynthia Lummis, RWI, stating that she believes money printer go BRRR isn't just bad monetary policy but is also in conflict with American values. Senator Lummis told the audience, "Warren and I are very concerned about printing dollars that have nothing to back them up. The 28 going on $30 trillion
Well, they have the dog to back them up. Come on.
in debt that has been issued. It's demoralizing, and in my view it's anti-American to destroy our currency in that way. The national debt is currently $28.3 trillion, according to the Peter G. Peterson Foundation, meaning the US has had to borrow money to spend it. That's not wholly on the Federal Reserve.
Maybe the Fed should just buy a bunch of crypto and push the market in a good direction, and then we can turn a profit of 28.3 trillion and pay off the debt.
28.3 trillion, according to the Peter G. Peterson Foundation, meaning the US has had to borrow money to spend it. That's not wholly on the Federal Reserve. Congress and the President have not passed a balanced budget since 2000. The federal deficit then ballooned to an unprecedented level last year in an effort to ward off a recession. Stimulus checks and expanded unemployment benefits contributed to the deficit. The Federal Reserve, which is charged with overseeing U.S. monetary policy, how to manage interest and supply, rather than fiscal policy, how to spend funds, did print money, though. Its balance sheet grew from $4.2 trillion at the beginning of March 2020 to over $7 trillion in May 2020. It's now approaching $8 trillion, and the Fed can use the funds it creates to buy government securities. Representative Davidson, a founder of Congress's Sound Money Caucus, said he believes the Fed should be audited. Warren Davidson. At Warren Davidson. So excited that there's bicameral support for hash crypto clarity in Congress. If we do this right, we will cement the US as the leader in innovation and entrepreneurship. Like Representative Davidson, Senator Lummis fears that expansionary monetary policy contributes to an unreasonable level of inflation, lowering the purchasing power of the US dollar. She would rather that Bitcoin and the US dollar work hand in hand, with the value of the US dollar remaining strong so that it can continue to be the leading global currency for trade. Bitcoin would take on the role once given to gold. In the gold standard, dollars were backed by gold reserves. However, Senator Lummis is open to BTC taking the lead. While Davidson and I are going to continue to fight for fiscal sanity and fight to save the US dollar, I am so relieved Bitcoin came along to underpin the US dollar. And if we go off the rails completely, Bitcoin will be there. And it can be the standard.
Well, this concern with the centralized versus DeFi, like basic bifurcation of value, it's important. I mean, like, this is giving some credibility to, or the Fed seems to be assuaged by the current market status of crypto and what the technology and what the state of the market actually can offer. They seem to be honoring the legitimacy of it on some level. And yeah, I think that's only speaks in advocacy if the Fed expresses themselves in such way. I mean, like Vitalik Buterin was saying that the one major hurdle for crypto to have to consider and deal with is that sovereign nation states, governments can always just do away with it through policy. So that's true. I mean, one must not ignore blatant facts, is that if government wants to strong arm different markets, that's what they're there to do. It's what they've been created to do. So also just wanted to give a shout to Charlie Chang, his YouTube channel. I think he gives a lot of good tech sector advice. So I was reviewing his stock tips for the day. And also Brian Jiang, who's more crypto oriented. But both these guys, Charlie Chang and Brian Jiang, I definitely would give them some credit. I've been looking over their picks in both of these videos.
Thursday. US stock benchmarks were advancing modestly early Wednesday, but enough to see all three benchmarks trade at or near record closing territory, ahead of an eagerly awaited inflation report due Thursday. A decline of the benchmark 10-year Treasury yield to around its lowest level in 3 months, as investors appeared to dismiss inflation concerns, also was buoying yield-sensitive assets like technology stocks. What are major benchmarks doing? The Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 14 points, or less than 0.1%, to 34,591. The S&P 500 index was
I was looking over the chart analysis of, I think, the S&P v crypto, or via Bitcoin specifically, or I think it was the S&P versus Ethereum maybe, and there's like a perfectly inverse relationship. Let's see if I can dig that up.
climbing 7 points, or 0.2%, at 4,234, surpassing its May 7th record closing high at 4,232.60. The tech-heavy Nasdaq Composite Index rose 70 points, or 0.5%, to around 13,993. On Tuesday, stocks barely budged. The Dow fell 30.42 points, or 0.1%, to close at 34,599.82, while the S&P 500 rose less than a full point and the Nasdaq Composite edged up 0.3%.
Yeah, so the correlation between Bitcoin and the S&P 500, and that's from a year ago, but I think that this is from 2019. But there was somebody else mentioning, I think, this exact same factor earlier today.
Bitcoin, BTC. Investors keep pointing to correlations between the S&P 500 and Bitcoin, BTC, when it suits them most of the time. However, when things start to get too realistic, this correlation is all of a sudden forgotten.
Okay, so they're talking about a congruent correlation, but today I was reviewing somebody who was talking about an inverse relationship between the two.
0.3%.
It might have been Ethereum.
Read why stock traders say never short a dull market. What's driving the market? Equities remain stuck in a trading range, with the S&P 500 index and Dow hovering near all-time highs. Since May 27th, we have managed to gap higher 6 times, with only one time leading to a higher close on June 4th, Jobs Friday, said Michael Kramer, chief executive at Mart Capital Management, in a note. The rest of the time, we basically finished the day flat. It suggests that buyers have enough energy to open the market higher, but not enough to finish the job, allowing the sellers to take over. I'm just wondering at what point this pattern breaks and what the result will be, Kramer wrote. A May reading of the U.S. Consumer Price Index due on Thursday morning is expected to be the main event of the week. A hotter-than-expected April CPI reading, which showed prices rose 4.2% year-over-year, briefly rattled markets last month. Since then, inflation jitters have waned, but the CPI data is expected to provide an important test.
Yep. Anyway, maybe I'll do I'll kind of rehash stuff, but in addition to that, I'll come back to it. But yeah, I sent a conceptual massing of this out, or I kind of was looking at a conceptual massing of this. I'm pretty, I mean, as a first effort here, I'm kind of somewhat generally pleased with this. So this is just something else that I'm working on here. And yeah, I'll come back to it. I've got ADD. We'll come back to it, but I'm sorry guys. We're gonna just